And so this story, The Blue Remove, is based, it's a fictional story, but it's based on two strong women that I was fortunate enough to have in my life. My mother's mother, my grandmother, Margaret Falsgraf Elliott, who raised 10 kids with her husband, Edward, raised 10 kids during the Depression in Colorado, and who, when Ed and the boys built the house that she lived most of her life in, Grandma insisted that the kitchen window face toward the Rockies because she knew how much time she would be spending at that sink, and she wanted to be able to look out and see her mountains. So that's one of the women that is strongly in this story. And the other is my mother-in-law, Ron's mother, Treva Druschel Getchie, another wonderful, strong woman who raised Ron after her husband Paul was killed in the Second World War. And this story draws very heavily from his family's experience as well as my mother's. So it's a pleasure to share it with you. The Blue Remove. When I was a little girl, my parents bought land outside of Denver, south of the city, to build a house. Now that was in 1923. So there was nothing but prairie sweeping out in front of us till the Rocky Mountains rose up and filled the horizon. How I loved those mountains. When my mama would give me a chore to do, like weeding the garden or hanging the wash, I would always hurry through it as fast as I could, so I could sit back and look up at those mountains, rising blue in the distance. I used to think that if I could go up there, that everything up there would be blue, that the tree trunks would be indigo and the leaves aquamarine, and that even my own skin would take on a bluish tinge, like snow does when it's really, really cold. My papa used to say the mountains are at a far remove. So I called them my Blue Remove. And I promised myself that one day I would go up there. The summer I turned 12, I heard a car pull up in front of our house. And as I came round the side, I heard my mama laughing. Now, there were not many people who could make my mama laugh. And indeed, when I came around the side, I saw my Uncle Howard, her younger brother, and truth be known, her favorite. And he had my brother Gary under the arms, and he was swinging him back and forth and saying, "I'm going to kidnap these children, Louisa. I'm going to kidnap them and take them up to the mountains so they can breathe some fresh air." Well, I couldn't believe it. Go up to the mountains. And then I saw Mama's hands go on her hips. And I could tell from the set of her shoulders she was going to say no. And I must have made some kind of sound, because they all turned and looked at me. And Uncle Howard started to laugh, and even Mama cracked a smile. "Good heavens, Grace Louise," she said. "You are looking at me like I am some kind of ogre." "Oh, all right. I suppose I can get along without the two of you for one day. But I want you back well before dark. Do you hear me, Howard? I don't want my children rattling around in that claptrap jalopy of yours on those mountain roads after nightfall." I didn't wait for her to change her mind. I turned and ran in the house and cut some of the bread we'd baked that morning and got some cheese, some tomatoes from the garden, and we were off. Now, it's always been my dilemma that when I get really, really excited, I get sleepy. So between my excitement at going up to the mountains at last and the rocking of the car on the mountain roads, I was soon fast asleep. When I woke up, the car had stopped, and I could hear Gary, my brother, off yelling somewhere, and I opened my eyes and I saw my pink skin and the brown and white checked gingham of my sleeve. Looked up, there was Uncle Howard, leaning against a tree, smoking a cigarette. He saw me. "Well, Sleeping Beauty has arisen," he said. "Come on out here, Gracie. Smell this mountain air." "Well, we're not there yet," I said. "There yet? Sugar, we're there as we're going to be. Your mama wouldn't thank me if we ended up in Kansas." "No, it's not. We can't be there yet. Gracie, honey, come on out here. Let me show you where we've come from. Then maybe you'll understand where we are. He took me over to where the mountain dropped off, sheer, just right in front of us, knelt down behind me and put his arm around my waist. I reckon your mama is right about out there, probably wondering what in tarnation we are getting ourselves up to. I looked out, and there was the prairie sweeping away, but in the distance, in the blueness, instead of mountains, there were buildings, houses, roads. I started to cry. Gracie, what is it, honey? What's wrong? It's not what I thought. I said, it's not what I thought it would be. Well, Gracie, what were you expecting? I thought it would be blue. Oh, Gracie, no, honey, that blue, that's the color of the horizon. That always is ahead. You know, you never really get there. I was crying really hard now. Oh, honey, now let's think about this, Gracie. Now let's just you and I think about this, all right? I mean, isn't it better this way? This way you always have it to look forward to. It's always there to arrive at. I mean, isn't that better than actually getting there? It's my blue remove, I said to him. Well, blue remove. I like that, Gracie. I like that quite a bit. Just then Gary started to yell again, and Uncle Howard turned me around and used his shirt tail to wipe my face. Come on, let's go see if your brother's found himself a bear, or a mountain lion, or both. Well, we had a wonderful day, and we got back well after dark. I remember Papa carried me in from the car, and Mama took my shoes off and just put me to bed right in my clothes. And I could hear the grown-ups talking in the other room as I dropped off to sleep, and I thought I heard my Uncle Howard say the blue remove, and my Papa laugh and Mama say something, and then I was gone. I was asleep. And the next morning I got up, and it was just another day. Mama gave me some wash to hang, and I went outside, and there were my mountains. The screen door slammed, and Mama came out, and I thought she was bringing me more wash. But she came up behind me, and she pulled me back against her. I could smell the starch from her apron and feel how soft her breast was. She put her chin on top of my head and tipped us both back so we were looking up at the Rockies. I look up to the hills, she said, from whence cometh my help. And we stayed there for the longest time, the two of us, looking up at those mountains. I could feel her breath rise and fall. I could feel her heart beat. And then she gave me a squeeze and a little shake and turned me loose. And we never spoke of it again. But that Christmas, she made me a dress. Now, she made me a dress every Christmas. It was my good dress. It had to last the year. So usually she made it out of something practical, like plaid. But that Christmas, she made me a dress of the most beautiful blue taffeta. It was just the color of those mountains. It was just the color of her eyes. And I wore that dress until I could not cram myself in it anymore. Then I cut it down and made it a shirt, and then I cut that down and made it a scarf, and I still have it with me in a quilt that I pieced and kept to this day. And I kept my blue remove as well. That next winter, when Papa had to go off and find work because times were very hard, I said to myself, it's all right, it's okay. He's just gone into the blue remove. He'll be back. And come spring, he was. And even when people did not come back, my Uncle Howard was shot down over France in the Second World War, and we never did see him again. And we were terribly sad. But I said to myself, it's all right. He's all right. He's just gone into the blue remove. And I'd imagine him parachuting out of his plane and the blue wrapping around him like a blanket, holding him close, keeping him safe. All that was a long time ago. I'm an old woman now. There are more people I love who have died and gone beyond than are still with me in this world. My dreams are very strong now. And in my dreams, I'm a little girl again. And I'm walking toward those mountains. And each night I get a little bit closer. Last night, I was so close. The blue hung down like a curtain before me, and I could hear voices and see movement in it. I heard my papa laughing. I heard Mama. I heard Frank, my sweet Frank, my husband for 47 years. And he was calling, Gracie, Gracie, the way you do when you see somebody first before they see you. It about broke my heart to wake up and be back here. But one day, soon, I will not wake up. I'll keep walking into that blueness. And there will be my own skin, smooth and firm, and the faces of those I love around me. And it will be sad to be gone from this world and all I love still here. But it's a temporary separation. Because we're all walking toward the same horizon, heading for our blue remove. And I do believe we all will meet again in paradise.